Oh, hi. Oh, I don't have the right screen. There you are. Hi, precious pumpkin. How are you?
Oh, how are you?
Yeah, good. Okay. Leave it to you to point out something disgusting. You said on Twitter, well, wait a minute. First of all, do we have, give me cut 7. This is Matt Gaetz after, what's her name? QAnon Betty, stupid press conference, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yes.
First of all, just your top line reaction to that.
Bravo, Marjorie Taylor Greene. That was so good, I almost had to smoke a cigarette afterwards.
And you said, are you admitting that you masturbated at Greene's press conference, Matt Gaetz?
I just think I'm gonna bed.
Yeah. That kind of comment would probably get you a visit from HR.
Yeah.
If you said that about your after a meeting with your coworkers, you were like, "Oh man, that PowerPoint presentation was so good. I needed a cigarette after."
I think we should be happy about the state of this party. This is a woman who has fondled the crotch of a cardboard cutout of Donald Trump saying this is his party. Should we just be like, oh, good. Don't listen to Liz Cheney or Reason. Just go in that direction. It's fantastic.
Yeah. Let's be careful, though, with the Liz Cheney stuff, though. I mean, because she's awful except for impeachment.
Well,
Right. She'll bite you.
Chris, I have a guess to quote for you.
Oh, okay. All right.
I feel like this is too big of a hint, although you're really bad at this.
I can get better. It gets better.
Ask whether... I've heard that. Not for me.
Oh.
I should do a series of videos for gay kids. It doesn't get better.
No, not at all.
Not because of being gay, just if you're me.
Right.
If you have
It's radio.
Enjoy the
personality like this, then it does not get better.
Enjoy the attention you're getting, even if it's negative. Is that really what you're saying?
Yes.
Hey kids, you will die alone and be eaten by your dogs like me. Okay. Asked. I think I gave it away again. Okay, Chris, who said when asked if the Senate should convict what we already know does constitute the gravest violation of his oath of office by any president in the history of the country, and this is not something that we can simply look past or pretend didn't happen or try to move on. Who said that?
The Hair Bear Bunch.
No, once again, a lot of Liz Cheney, who we just were talking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, Rude.
Yeah.
Yay for Cheney, but I'm hoping the party doesn't listen to her, because then they have a better chance of winning and actually regaining sanity. And you're like, okay, she's awful, but at least she's a sane kind of awful that recognizes
that we're
treason,
used to.
right?
It's the sane kind of awful that we're used to.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a regular evil from the Iraq War and torture.
Right. Yeah. So anyway, I feel like she's also defending her family honor because Trump went after it. Went after Bush and Cheney, and also for a certain kind of republicanism, that can to ignore certain crazies, but not all the crazies, because certainly she has played into Islamophobia and other things. So
She's awful. And probably you're right. It is driven by her daddy issues and her desperately wanting daddy to love her more than the lesbian.
Yes.
It's the whole thing. She wants him to love the carpetbagger more than the carpet.
Good cough right there.
Yeah.
Were you trying to cough over my bleep just to make sure that I bleep carpet? Sure.
Just something got caught in my throat when you said that.
Oh, you spit up. One's a carpet.
That's a danger.
Oh,
That's a danger.
Beat that joke into the ground.
Yeah.
Okay. You tweeted also, under the rules of reconciliation, nothing prevented Senate Republicans from voting for a budget bill supported by a big majority of Americans, but they all voted against it. So DC Press, maybe spend a little energy asking why the GOP hates unity. Thank you. Ask them why they're against something 75% of the American people are for.
And I don't want to steal any thunder from Eric Bullard, but he writes well about that today.
I just was going to say, kind of tiptoed over into his territory, and now he's going to have to swear.
But anybody who's looking at the polls can see that Biden's, what Biden's proposing is supported by a large majority of the country, and that includes Republicans in it. So
in one answer, he redefined that, Rude, which is exactly right. He said, bipartisanship is what the majority of the American people want. And God bless him, he's listening to the American people, not the inside beltway as to what gives Susan Collins a frowny. Like,
Yeah.
cares, right?
And let's hope he continues to sort of tack left as he seems to be doing, and not listen to the Lawrence Summers who keep talking about, we need to means test the $1,400 checks differently than we did the $600 or the $2,000 previously.
Yeah.
Yes, targeting payments is a good thing, but there's no real way to do that when you're basing things on income from 2019.
I agree. Well, and also I get like people that make 300,000, they're not getting, but I mean, when you're starting to get down to 50,000, or 75 even, I mean, depending on how many kids you have and where you live.
Yeah. I mean, you get more for more kids, but yeah, I mean, 50,000, in LA or here in New York, and that's just getting by.
And you're right.
Yeah.
Everybody got hit with this whole thing and the economic fallout. So it's well, I don't know if you heard my brilliant coyote analogy. Maybe it only works here in the Hollywood Hills, but my point is they're the little friendly coyotes that go down to get the dogs to follow them up to the wild pack of vicious coyotes. And that's what Mitt Romney and Susan Collins are. And they just lure us, oh, look, unity, bipartisanship. Don't you want to come up with, the point is they're all coyotes at the end of the the day.
Yeah,
They lure them up there, and then they rip them to shreds, and they eat their fingertips because they're Wolverines.
And they feed their fingertips to the Wolverines?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then Patrick Swayze somehow involved. But here's my point, Rude.
No, I want to hear more about
They
the
never
coyote.
negotiate in good faith. They just don't. And you're right, the media never calls them out on it. They're not negotiating in good faith. They offered, 150-something, 55 amendments to Obamacare.
Yeah.
Not one of them voted for it. They just want to slow it down, and they don't want Democrats to get any wins. It's insane. We do it every time. They make it, water it down, make it less effective, and then they don't support it anyway.
Yeah, let me throw a theory out here.
Right. Trust me, the little friendly Wolverines are like, what are you doing? You said this was you're ripping them apart. Oh, no, the little coyotes are stupid little birds. But
right now we have a generation of politicians in the Democratic Party who grew up starting with Bush and the terrible things that Bush did through the obstruction of Obama and into Trump. That's what they know of republicanism. They don't remember, the supposed glory days of Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan, getting all Irish and, cutting deals. Yeah. They don't remember, they're unburdened by all of that BS that they like to talk about. And so all they know of Republicans are incompetence and savagery and cruelty. And so when you get people like the Squad and others, they're sick of it. They know who they're dealing with. They're not pretending they're not dealing with the coyotes.
Yeah.
And that's pushing Chuck Schumer and others.
You know what? They're feeding the right wolf. Do you know what I'm saying, bro?
Are we going back to that?
No.
Soul Cycle? Yeah.
Soul Cycle they're not nice.
They're
canceled.
Wolf.
Yes, they're not nice.
Sorry.
They're canceled.
Oh, we canceled Soul Cycle?
Sorry.
Yes.
Did I mention that the dingo took my baby?
Yeah. So it's a punchy pre and
the Wolverine ate my fingertips. Yes, Bruce. What?
I was just trying to find out why Soul Cycle was canceled.
Oh well, I quit them as soon as they had.
Oh, okay, all right.
They had a fundraiser for Trump.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, all right.
Now I pay $12 a month for the Peloton app on my 20-year-old bike. I'm happy as a clam.
And you don't even have a husband that says you're fat, you need a Peloton.
Yes. That you can look at with all pain and distress and thank him.
I would marry the Peloton husband. I love the Peloton husband. Okay. Rude. Yeah.
He's just low-key Marilyn Manson, really.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh my God.
Your piece was great as usual. But the headline, just Republicans want to ignore the trauma of the Capitol riot because most of them are guilty of inciting it. That's why Glenn Kirshner's, this is not a trial. Most of them are, first of all, they're witnesses, but they're also accomplices in many cases.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and you're right, and they're trying to weasel their way out of any kind of blame for anything. And the
There's
way they
always
do
a
that,
reason. I was saying there's a reason Lindsey Graham has been slowing down Merrick Garland's confirmation. The last thing they want is a functioning Department of Justice right now, right?
yeah, yeah, and you said earlier they should do something to slow it down. They should subpoena Trump.
Yeah.
They should call Mike Pence as a witness. Frankly, what they should do is they should send it to a select committee and let the committee do the work of the impeachment trial. And that way they can take all the time in the world and the Senate can continue with its business. That is something that is allowable.
I mean, what was the, one story? They're closing in on Roger Stone, it's reported. Once again, he's involved in this. But that's what I'm saying. It's like, of course they don't want all this to come out and be proven before this impeachment trial. They want this to be complete because they think, oh, the whole thing's unconstitutional. Oh, he's out of office. Oh, let's just move on. And then all this is going to come out later, and it's...
Wouldn't it be hilarious if everybody Trump pardoned, like all of the people close to him, just can't help themselves from committing crimes? And
Trump can't. He's doing everything Adam Schiff said he would do after Ukraine. This is what happens when people get away with it. They just keep, right?
Yeah, and so Roger Stone and Michael Flynn, they're all just deeply involved in this, in this insurrection in some way or another. And so the pardon doesn't cover that.
And by the way, I agree with Frank Leguzzi that we need domestic terrorism laws. This is why this woman can go on vacation in Mexico, this Capitol Hill rioter who's charged with 5 felonies. And, the reason why Republicans don't want it, because they know our number one problem is right-wing domestic terrorism, white supremacist terrorism, right? I mean, they're perfectly fine with there being a different rule for Islamic terrorism, right? Whereas in this stupid comparison, tell me what you think of this. If they're trying to use, it's whataboutism. Oh, what about the Black Lives Matter who protested? Oh, Democrats supported that. You mean the largely peaceful Black Lives Matter protests that didn't have any terrorism involved, right? I mean,
can you imagine if all of those Black Lives Matter protesters had been marching along with guns and full riot gear and everything else? Some of them did have protective body protection armor on them, but if none of them were almost none of them were walking around just fully armed, ready to break into places. Yes, there was some violence,
vandalism, and in some cases it was found to be white Proud Boys or whoever. Remember the guy all covered up in Portland smashing out the windows, and we find out it's so funny. Everything they accuse us of, they're the ones that are doing. They sent provocateurs in there to try to make it look like many things were not peaceful that were, right?
Right, but the other thing we have to think is that what is the cause here? The cause for Black Lives Matter's protesters was the very real, on video murder of Black people by police, and that nobody was being prosecuted for. And what we have with the insurrectionists is that the people who were lied to repeatedly, who believe a lie, who are essentially trying to overturn, to cause a coup. There's a difference between. They tried to make that equation between the coup and defund the police. And again, defund the police wasn't about let's reverse having police departments.
Yeah. And now they're 4 cop killers. I mean, they're disgusting.
And don't forget that over 100 cops were injured too. Some of them pretty badly.
Yes. Who killed themselves over this?
Yeah.
They don't count. I mean, by the way, I loved your tweet. I don't know who this is. Some Republicans said we have a drug problem in Virginia, and legalizing marijuana will only lead to more marijuana overdoses and deaths. Democrats want more marijuana deaths, and you said, "Are you high?" Yeah, that's the biggest threat to America right now. Would be legalizing weed.
I can promise you, you can't overdose from marijuana.
Yes, I bet you've tried.
I have experimented for days straight.
You're like, nope, impossible.
Yeah.
No.
Thank you. You are a researcher, sir.
Yes.
I think of you as a
yes.
He's a professor.
A scholar.
Yes, that'll burnish my professor cred right there.
A professor of stonology.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Love you, Rudeness. See you next week.
Thanks, Rude.
Bye.
Out. Ow.